Middle-earth Shadow of War released as the sequel to the highly regarded video game Shadow of Mordor, which came out 3 years prior. Shadow of Mordor was the first game to introduce the Nemesis system, a fantastic mechanic which allows the player to make enemies that are unique to them. I got all 74 achievements in Shadow of Mordor last year and I had a ripper of a time, so when I saw the sequel on sale I yapped it up and today we're gonna get all 72 achievements in that game. If you're not familiar with the story, we are playing as Talion, a Gondorian ranger who was killed but is banished from death and is staying alive through a ring wraith Celebrimbor who is inside him. We begin the cutscene where Celebrimbor is forging a ring to challenge Sauron's. Right after, we meet Shelob.
You would give me the ring.
Fuck? I thought you were a spider. Anyhow, we talk to her for a bit and she's got Celebrimbor hostage and she forces us to give her the ring that we forged. Then Act 1 begins. The act kicks off with us defending the last Gondorian stronghold in Mordor, Minas Ithil. We meet a general named Baranor and the king's daughter Ithil and we manage to hold the orcs back for now. After about an hour of gameplay, we head to Cirith Ungol to assassinate an orc war chief. We get to team up with some soldiers from Minas Ithil and together we take down the ugly fucker. Defeating the war chief gave me my first achievement. When we return to Minas Ithil, we get quite shocked because the king has betrayed us and given Sauron the Palantir, an artifact that can show you where people are and even predict the future. Unsurprisingly, the ring wraiths don't hold up their end of the bargain and a fight breaks out. We're doing just fine, but then this lady called Eltariel shows up and stabs us. She is an elvish assassin and possesses one of the magic rings. She stabbed us so the ring wraiths couldn't possess us. We have a good old chinwag and then go see how Shelob's doing. She's being attacked by the Nazgul because they want the ring we gave her. We help fend off the attackers and in return she gives back our ring. That marks the end of Act 1 and the achievement pops. Now that we have the ring, we can brand orcs, making them part of our army. We head to Nurnen to raise an army to conquer Sauron. The first captain we brand is called Bruise.
Right lord, dark lord, same thing really.
Love this guy. Bruise is actually a pretty nice guy and he gives us some advice on how to conquer Mordor. Unlike in the first game, here you have different sword upgrades and pieces of armor to equip. You can infuse these items with gems. I unlocked 3 gem slots for an achievement. Another epic addition to this game is that you can conquer entire regions. Now that I can brand orcs, I decided to conquer the fortress in Nurnen. To do this, I had to dominate a bunch of captains and then attack the fortress, which was so fucking cool. It's like the Battlefield games where you capture certain points and then you kill the overlord of the stronghold, gaining control of the region. I just want to reiterate how fucking epic this is. Look at how many orcs are here. Anyhow, we go to kill the Overlord, but it turns out to be Ratbag, an orc who helped us out in the first game. He lets us become the Overlord, and I get the achievement for conquering the fortress of Nurnen. A few minutes later, we're introduced to the battle arena where orc captains battle for status. Here, one of my followers was pit against an orc loyal to Sauron. My guy won without my help at all, and I got the achievement I like to watch. Now, there are 3 missable achievements in this game, and I didn't want to have to worry about them later, so I decided to get them done. The first one was really easy. All you have to do is destroy one of the monuments of Sauron. I wasn't recording the first time, but I did it again for the footage, so here you go. The next one was a lot more complicated. I had to get every single one of a warchief's bodyguards to betray him. This was super annoying, because you have to brand a few captains and then get them to infiltrate the warchief's ranks by winning a fight against another captain, which is highly RNG based. It took me nearly an hour, but I managed to do it. A few minutes later, I got another achievement completely accidentally for encountering the same orc 3 times without killing him. I think it's just from me running around the same places trying to brand captains. The final missable achievement is for conquering a fortress with all the warchiefs as spies. This one was easier than the last one, but still annoying. I just had to get one of my captains to become a warchief by challenging the existing one, and then I had to kill all the others who weren't on my side. After that, I started a conquest and took the fort, earning the achievement. While working towards that, I actually got 2 other achievements. One, I completed a vendetta mission, I think that's just from killing so many captains earlier. And 2, when one of your captains gets killed, there is a chance they'll survive. Not sure how much sense that made, but I'll roll with it. This happened to me, and I got the achievement better luck next time. Continuing with the main story, we meet this lady called the Spirit of Carnage. She controls some forest or something. It's definitely the worst questline in the game. Anyhow, we have to kill a Balrog for her, which sounds fun, but it was literally just a bunch of button mashing and quick time events. Luckily, right afterwards, we get to do the best questline in the game. Bruise. Old mate Sauron is kinda pissed that we took his fort, so he sends 5 war chiefs to take us down. We have to hold off the attack, and we do. This whole fortress mechanic is probably the biggest thing Shadow of War has over Shadow of Mordor. At the end, Bruise, a man I thought was my friend, betrayed me and took the fort for himself. After that, I decided to put the rest of the game on hold and just deal with the Bruise quests. Some of the captains and war chiefs are still loyal to me, so I freed them from captivity, and then we take back the fortress. Taking back the fortress was pretty easy, but Bruise got away. We go through a series of missions where I get close to Bruise, even killing some of his buddies, but he keeps escaping by the skin of his teeth. Finally, we reach Bruise and defeat him, but instead of killing him, we shame him so much that he goes insane and starts crying. Completing all the Bruise quests got me an achievement. After that, I decided to continue with the Gondor questline. We go on missions with Baranor and Ithil, rescuing imprisoned soldiers and taking down war chiefs. Just like for completing all the Bruise quests, I got the achievement for finishing Gondor's. Right after, I needed another quick dopamine hit, so I forged 3 gems into 1. So, remember that girl Eltariel I mentioned before? Yeah, I decided to continue helping her on her crusade against the ring wraiths. We end up fighting one of the wraiths and defeating him. Upon his defeat, a cutscene plays and we get to see a bit about his backstory and how he went from a noble king to a mindless servant of Sauron. There's actually an achievement for defeating him, so that's nice. I did a few of those and then moved on to the Carnage quests. These are absolutely awful and I have no idea why they're in the game. For one mission, I had to fly around on a drake, fighting a Balrog. Eventually we defeat him and I got an achievement. Anyhow, so this orc figured out how to bring back people from the dead using magic, which is pretty not cool, so we put a stop to that by destroying all the shrines and making sure he is completely dead. Now it's time to conquer another fortress. I wanted to level up my character a bit beforehand, so I went and raided an outpost, which happened to be an achievement. When I felt confident, I went to siege the fortress in Saragost. For the siege, you can purchase upgrades like orcs with shields, orcs riding Caragors, etc. I bought 3 for an achievement. Capturing the fort was an absolute breeze, as my captains were pretty powerful, and I even had one of the war chiefs on my side. However, when I got to the boss fight with the Overlord, let's just say, yeah, I got absolutely fucked. It's okay though, because I realized that I've been neglecting the skill tree the entire game, so after upgrading that, I tried again and destroyed him. Shortly after, I sent a captain to kill someone, not realizing one of my other guys was already on it, so there were 2 of my guys against 1 enemy. It was a complete accident, but I'll take the achievement. Following that, the Nazgul Helm Hammerhand tried to take my fort in Saragost. Luckily, my troops held strong, apart from the fucking Overlord who ran away because he was scared of ghouls. He's been let go. Anyhow, we chase Helm Hammerhand down and end him for an achievement. To unlock the final Eltariel quest, I have to conquer every fort in the game. That leaves the fort in Lithlad and Gorgoroth. First, I went to conquer the one in Lithlad, which actually gave me an achievement. Next, I went to take Gorgoroth. Again, it was pretty easy, and it's a nice little bonus. As I was recruiting a captain, the achievement for recruiting a captain of every class popped. Now it's time to attack Sauron and destroy him. We siege Barad-dûr and take out all of his soldiers. We even kill Isildur the Ringwraith. Unfortunately, Celebrimbor wants to rule Middle-earth by himself, and he betrays us, giving Eltariel the ring he forged. We start to die, but we manage to survive by putting on Isildur's ring, which kinda turns us into a Ringwraith. Here we get an achievement for completing all Eltariel quests, and another for unlocking all abilities. With Talion now a weird Dark Lord kind of dude, we go to fight the Witch King and retake Minas Morgul, formerly known as Minas Ithil. It was a pretty easy boss fight, and upon completion I got the achievement for equipping a full set of legendary armor. I don't know why, but I'll take it. After that, we see Sauron fight Eltariel and Celebrimbor. It ends with them fusing into one being. It's pretty weird. When that ends, I get the achievement Stalemate is Victory. Now it's time for all of the cleanup in the base game. First, I got all 5 achievements for getting all the collectibles and doing a couple of side missions. So there are a bunch of miscellaneous achievements to go through, and I don't want you guys to get bored, so let's just rush through them. I sent a follower to kill another follower in a pit fight. Issued a death threat and kept my promise. Rode every beast. Shamed an assassin until he was deranged. Hit a follower till he turned against me. Made a captain kill his brother. Gave a captain a gang. Sent a destroyer on a vendetta mission. Killed a drake on a grog. Resurrected a captain. I also did this, and finally I killed a captain while riding an Olog and completed an online vendetta mission. Now for the big grind. I have to do 2 things. 1, beat the Shadow Wars, a hefty task which entails me defending my forts from multiple attacks from insanely powerful enemies. And 2, reaching the rank of captain in online conquests. Online Conquest is where you attack other players' forts. These two achievements actually went well together because I needed to level up for the Shadow Wars, and the best way to do that is through Online Conquest. Alright, as you can see, my overall rating is 2,414. I need 2,500 to become a captain, so we do one more siege, it should get me over the line. Oh, this guy looks easy. Alright, sweet, let's go. Ooh, arrow proof. I hate these guys, honestly. I can really just stand here the whole time. My guys will absolutely shred this guy. A lot of people said that it would be really, really hard to get this achievement, but I found it pretty easy. I don't know. I don't really need to use it here because this guy's easy, but the most OP strategy is just to summon your Graug and then destroy everyone. Look at him, he's already at half health. It's just insane. It's not even fair. What was that? 15 seconds? Max? There we go. There's the achievement. Hell yeah. With that out of the way, it's time for the Shadow Wars. Again, I thought these would be a hell of a lot worse than they actually were. Other than the small annoyance of having to level up orcs, I had a great time. I was expecting to have fucking level 80 orcs charging me head on, but I believe the highest I faced was 60, and I shut down each uprising first try. Following that, we get the ending cutscene of the game. To summarize, Talion holds off Sauron's forces, keeping peace in Middle-earth until eventually the darkness gets to him and he becomes a ring wraith. Luckily, shortly after, the War of the Ring comes around, and with the One Ring destroyed, after 50 years, Talion can finally find peace in death and be with his family who died in the first game.
Death came, death to Sauron, death to his dominion, and death to Talion.
What an ending. I would seriously recommend these games to anyone. They are truly amazing, easily in my top 3 favorite games of all time. In fact, Shadow of War may just be my all-time favorite, dethroning Elden Ring. There is now one trophy left in the base game which I completely forgot about. I simply have to forge a gem of the highest tier. It's not difficult at all, it just requires an hour or so of killing orcs to drop gems that I can craft with. Now it's time for the 2 DLCs. First up is the Blade of Galadriel. In this DLC we play as Eltariel, who now has the ring Celebrimbor forged, and we work with Talion to hold off Sauron's forces. Since Talion is basically a ring wraith now, we have to kill him. We go to Minas to do just that, but since Talion is an absolute beast, we get destroyed. He tries to convince us to help him defend some of his forts, and we oblige. For our next task, we must try and recruit a follower, but since Eltariel's an idiot, she refuses to dominate them with the ring, so we just have to convince them. Doing that earned me an achievement. After recruiting some helpers, we have to defend the fort in Cirith Ungol. Eltariel has the ability to blind orcs, and during the siege I got an achievement for blinding 100. Upon defeating all the war chiefs attacking Cirith Ungol, I got another achievement. Following that, destroying the fortress at Saragost by filling it with poison gas and killing the Overlord in Nirn got me 2 more achievements. I know I'm kinda glossing over this DLC a lot, and if you're wondering why, that's because it fucking sucks. It's honestly shameful that this piece of shit was tacked on to such an amazing game. Thankfully this DLC is pretty short, so we're near the end. Next, I fought 2 Nazgul for an achievement. Finally, we find Talion, and he is turning into a Nazgul. I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant here, so bear with me. This entire DLC is fucking awful. Not just because of the shitty missions, but because of how it ruins the story, and massacres not only Talion's character, but his legacy. Without the DLC, the ending for this game is perfect. Talion fights with honor and dignity until he is forced to succumb to the will of Sauron. Then comes the destruction of the One Ring, and Talion is finally put to rest with his late wife and son, who perished at the Black Gate over 50 years ago. This DLC takes that wonderful ending and shits all over it. Instead of the stoic man we once knew, in this DLC Talion is weak and cannot control himself. In the end, Eltariel fights him and tries to kill him, even after betraying him in the base game. This whole thing is her fault, yet the game still portrays her as kind and heroic. This DLC really soured the story for me, and it's a shame that these developers seem to care more about making an extra $10 and getting some brownie points for having a strong female character than they do about telling a good story. Hell, a better DLC would be Talion hunting down Eltariel and killing her for betraying him at Barad-dûr. I could also complain about how you can't dominate orcs in the DLC, which is one of the core elements that made the game fun, but I won't bore you any longer. Anyhow, there's my rant over. Finishing the DLC got me an achievement. After that, I had to do some shitty side quests and use an ability on 20 orcs for 2 more achievements. There's one more achievement in the DLC, but thankfully I can go back to the main campaign to get it. I simply have to chuck on the Eltariel skin and complete an online conquest as her.
Brave words for someone hiding.
They forgot to change the voice line. Next up is the Desolation of Mordor DLC. In this one, we play as Baranor, the Gondorian sergeant who is now fighting in Lithlad. There are 10 achievements in the DLC, but I actually got one already for taking Lithlad as Talion in the base game. This DLC holds by far the most difficult achievement in the game, so stay tuned for that. When we start the DLC, we meet the dwarf Torvin from the first game. He gives us a glider and a grapple hook. One thing to note is that unlike Talion or Eltariel, Baranor doesn't possess a magic ring, so he has none of the powers associated with them. Instead of branding orcs, we can hire mercenaries to help us fight and accomplish the main goal of the DLC, which is to conquer the fortress in Lithlad. Baranor's lack of a magic ring also means that when he dies, it's over. So this DLC is essentially a roguelike, because if you die, you lose everything. All your mercenaries, all your unlocked abilities, everything. So I'll have to be exceptionally careful. In one of the missions, we go steal some coin from orcs and some sandworms show up and destroy a bunch of stuff, which yielded an achievement. After that, I attacked the Overlord of Lithlad. We managed to make him an amputee, but we didn't kill him. Still got an achievement. Although Baranor was a sergeant in Minas Ithil, he was originally from Lithlad, so we team up with his brother who's been here the whole time. In one mission, we have to rescue him from some orcs. I did, and my efforts were compensated with the 66th achievement. Before we can take the main fortress, we have to take all 5 outposts. These outposts can be quite difficult as they can have up to 4 captains. When we've captured them all, we go back to base to plan our attack on the fortress. When our guard is down, we get ambushed by Sauron's forces and we are forced to defend ourselves for an achievement. Finally, we take the fortress and murder the Overlord for an achievement. That marks the end of the DLC's story. It took me an hour and a half and I only got a bronze rating. To get the hardest achievement in the game, I'm going to have to get a gold rating by completing it in under an hour on Nemesis difficulty. Before doing that, I went in and got a few collectibles and killed enemies with certain weapons for 2 more achievements. I also went back to the base game and did a few side quests specific to Lithlad for the second to last achievement. Now it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. The Baranor the Conqueror achievement, for which I have to get a gold rating in the Desolation of Mordor. The goal is simply to conquer all 5 outposts and the fortress. The score is calculated based on what difficulty you play on, how fast you complete it, and how much XP you earn throughout the ordeal. I played on Nemesis difficulty in order to get the highest multiplier possible. Immediately after starting my first run, I captured an outpost and used the skill points I got to upgrade the skill, allowing me to have 3 bodyguards. I then hired the most powerful mercenaries I could afford and continued my quest. A good thing to do is let the mercenaries get the finishing blow on the orc captains, as they'll gain a few levels, making them more powerful for the final siege. Alright, I just started recording. I've got 1 more outpost to capture and then I can capture the fort. I'm not entirely sure how long I've been going, but hopefully we can do it. I actually made a fatal mistake before. There are 5 outposts you have to get, but I really screwed up and didn't place mercenaries at the ones I'd taken, so they got taken again. So I have to take 7 instead of 5. Hopefully I still have enough time. I don't know. He's adapted to avoid executions? Fuck. Okay, come on. Yes, okay. We defeated him. Got the fort. I don't care about the cutscene. Oh shit! We did it! As you can see, I was pretty chuffed to have done it on my first try. After the challenges in Shadow of Mordor, I was expecting a lot worse. I didn't enjoy my first playthrough of the DLC that much, but it still had fun moments, and on the other hand, the challenge was great fun. Excluding the Eltariel DLC, I had a fantastic time with this game, and if you haven't already, give it a go, you'll love it. Cheers, now go watch me 100% Mafia 2.